So today we can see exception handling. Okay. So yesterday we have discussed your collection, and now we will explore the exception handling. So what will happen? You will get many exception, but we have to provide the some alternative solution. Okay. So your code should not be break. Exception means we are able to handle. Okay, but error we cannot handle. So you can say the main objective of exception handling is to get normal termination of our application. So we are providing the alternate way to continue our work or continue our flow. Understood, right? So I'm just going for office, right? I have a bike, I'm going for office, and my tire has puncture, right? So what is the alternate way to reach my office? Right? Either I can go by cab, or I can go by public transport or metro and whatever. So we have provided the alternate way to reach on the destination or continue on the flow. So same thing we are going to do in our programming as well. Okay. So any exception will raise, right? So what happened? We will provide the alternative way to continue our flow. That's why exception handling we have in your Java. Okay. So the main objective of exception handling is to get the normal termination of application in order to execute rest of the application code. Unexpected, unwanted event that disturb the normal flow of the program is called exception, like tire puncture or slipping exception or file not found exception, right? So these are the unwanted event happen, you don't know, but this event will happen, right? Exception handling means we are providing the alternative code to continue the execution of remaining code and get normal termination of the application. For example, our programming is to like I have given one example. So in real time we are keeping our code in some repository and cloud, or we can tell in the git repo, right? So our programming is a data file from a remote file locating at the server. No, just I can give you one example. I'm sending the notes and video to you guys. Okay, understood, right? So notes and video I have sent to you. So what happened? Your notes and video you have downloaded in your local as well, in your local system as well, and in your email also you have, right? So what will happen? Again, you are trying to upload that video, right? Or you are going to download again that same video. But unfortunately, you that file is not downloaded, all the files, like we have a multiple files. We have given the world alternative. If the file will not download from the server, I can use my local one. So I have given the alternative flow. So same thing I have written here. Our programming is to the data file from remote file locating at the server at the runtime server. File not available in our program should not be terminate abnormally. So we have to provide some local file to continue REST program. Normally, this way of defining is nothing but exception handling. So here you can see we have a try block, right? Inside this try block, this is your this is your cloud or this is your server. Okay, so here you are downloading the file, but unfortunately some of the files are not downloaded properly. So here we are going to use in our local file to continue our programming. So in the simple manner, we have a try catch in the Java try catch block. So the exception will raise inside is your try block, and we are providing the alternate solution in your catch block. When exception will raise, then control will be going your catch block, and it will continue your programming. It will not terminate. You are getting like file not found exception, right? You will get some message, but your code will be not terminated. Okay, so we can go as a technically what happen if an exception is raised in a programming. Okay, so when exception will raise, I think you guys have seen some exception as well, right? While doing the practice, runtime exception or compile time exception, right? So here program execution is terminated abnormally. It means a statement placed after the exception causing a statement are not executed. Okay, so what will happen here? Program execution terminated, or it means a statement placed after exception cause a statement is not executed if we will not uh, if the exception will raise. So your program will terminate if you are not handling the exception. Okay, so what happen and what the JVM will do, right? So when what the JVM does when logical error is occurred in your program. So what the JVM will do, you can see we have a runtime exception, right? At a runtime means JVM. So it create a exception object. Okay, so let me show you one thing. You will get more clarity. So exception is nothing but this is a class only. Oh my God. Okay, no problem. It is visible, right? You can see exception is nothing but throwable is your super class, and we have a subclass. Subclass is your we have a subclass here, and subclass is your exception. Throwable is your super class, and subclass is your exception, and error. Error is also class. Both are the subclass of throwable. Inside this, you can see we have a runtime exception, IO exception, interrupted exception, servlet exception, right? So, and these are the error, VM error, line something, a stack overflow error. So these are the errors, but technically exception is your class. Okay, so here the same point I have written what happened, when JVM does, when JVM does, what JVM does when logic error is occurred in your program. So JVM, what it will do, it will create an exception class object. Got it right? That associated with the logical mistakes. If you are doing any logical mistakes and terminate that current method execution by throwing this exception object. Technically speaking, exception is your instance of a subclass of java.lang.travel. So these all the classes are available in your lang package. So exception occurs due to two reasons: developer mistake or end user mistake. End user means if you are entering your wrong email ID or password, username and password, you are getting some error message, right? So that is exception. That is your end user mistake, or developers are have done some mistakes. So we have a two reason to raise the exception. So while providing the input to the application, whenever user enter invalid data, then exception is occurs. Okay, so it will not terminate the code. It will give the message to the users. Okay, a file that need to be open cannot found, an exception occurs, right? Exception occurs when network is get disconnected in the middle of the communication. Travel class. Okay, so travel is a super class for all the exception in java.lang package. Only object those are the instance of the class. The subclass are thrown by the JVM and can be thrown by developer using the throws statement. I think you guys already seen this throws keyword. Okay, and I'll show you in the Eclipse as well. Okay, so this is how JVM will handle the exception. I will come on, I will give you some examples so you will get more clarity. Throwable hierarchy. So for all kinds of exception like java.lang.throwable class is a super class. It has a two main subclass, error and exception. So one important question is there. What is the difference between error and exception? Okay, guys. So simple word, error and exception. Exception we are able to handle, but error we cannot handle. Error, I can give you an example. I think you guys are working in your company, or if you're not working, no problem at all. So one separate IT teams are there. If you're working in your MNC company or any third level also MNC, we have a separate team, IT people, right? So if you have a some issue with your laptop, or if you have some issue with your software, you are raising the ticket to the IT people, right? And they are going to resolve your problem. Okay, so you have joined in your company, and the your teammates or your managers has assigned you one VM, that is called your virtual machine. So they have given to you VM, then he said you should work on your virtual machine, not in your local. So you are hired for automation test engineer, right? You are hired for automation test engineer. Then your manager asks you to, hey, can you set up the automation project in your system? So you need a some software, right? You have a JDK, you have Eclipse, right? These are all the software you have to require. Then you have raised the tickets and all, right? So IT people have, install all the software, but some of the issue with your JDK, right? Or some of the issue with your system, right? Your system having the less memory, right? When you are executing your code, it is going to fail. When you will run your automation script, then it will create a screenshot, but your memory or C drive is already full and all, right? So this type of the issue is called error, not an exception. This issue is coming from lack of resources. So here developer cannot do anything, you are the tester, you cannot do anything. So here we having the resources issue and all, your system or issue is there, right? Again you have to connect with your IT team. Hey, this is the issue I'm going to face. Take the screenshot, raise the ticket to the IT people, and they will resolve your issue. That is called error. Simple word you can tell, right? If someone will ask exception, you are writing the code, right? You have done some mistake, you are getting some null pointer exception, right? So these are the mistakes happen with the developer or end users. So we have to provide the solution, right? But error we cannot provide. Okay, so what the difference between the error and exception? So error types exception are through due to problem occurs in JVM side logic, like if there is no memory in the stack area, or create a new stack frame to execute the method, then JVM throws types of the error like java.lang dot a stack overflow error. So there is no memory in the it has the area to create a new object, then JVM will throw error out of memory, right? So you will get many types of the error as well. Just I have given some example of the JVM, right? Exceptions types, exceptions are thrown due to problem occurs in the Java program logic, right? So if you divide it, like just I have given one example how the exception will occur. You are dividing 10 by 0, and then JVM will terminate your code, right? Through java.lang arithmetic exception. We cannot catch error because error is not thrown by the in order to the application, and once error type exception and throw JVM is executed, right? So we can catch exception because the exception is thrown in our application and we can handle it. It cannot be, it can, if not, then terminated by the JVM in our program. Simple word, just remember that example. Okay, so we have again they have divided these exception types. So exceptions are divided into the three types: checked exception, unchecked exception, and error. Okay, so what is the checked exception? The checked exception which are checked by the compiler. So some of the exception you guys, I have already seen, right? It's you will get as a compile time, means this will checked by the compiler at a time of compilation. It's called checked exception, that is called IO exception, interrupted exception. If application contains checked exception, the code ID is not compiled. So we must handle the checked exception in two ways, by using try catch block and by using throws keyword. So this is the two ways we can handle this exception. Okay, if application contains checked exception, then compiler is able to check it and it will give terminate your developer. I'll show you the example, guys, so you will get more clarity. And this is runtime exception, unchecked exception, not checked by the compiler at a time of the compilation. It is called unchecked exception. This is your arithmetic type, array index out of bound exception, number format exception. Okay. If application contains checked exception, compiler generate information about of exception. So code is not compiled. Hence, we must handle that exception by using the try catch block, throws keyword. For checked exception, try catch block or throws keyword mandatory. But for unchecked exception, it is optional. In the simple manner in Java, whatever it is checked or unchecked exception, we must be handle that exception by using the try catch. Either you can go for the try catch or throws keyword to get normal termination. Error I have already explained you. Error are called due to lack of system resources like heap memory is full, a stack memory is full, a stack overflow, out of memory. Exceptions are caused due to developer mistakes or end user I know supplied the mistake, but error are occurred due to lack of system resources. We can handle exception by using the try catch, block and throws keyword, but we cannot handle the error. So these are the important keyword in your exception handling: try catch, finally and throws and throw. I will come on that what is the finally block and what is the throw keyword. Okay. In order to in Java, whether it is a checked exception or unchecked exception, they must be handled by using the try catch and by reported by the JVM throws keyword to get the normal termination. This is your syntax of your try catch. Okay. So this is your exception code, and here you can give the exception name or reference variable. Application with the try catch block. So whenever exception raise try catch block, JVM won't terminate the program immediately. It will search corresponding catch block. Okay, when you are using try catch, when exception will raise inside your try, JVM will check and where JVM will search catch block is there or not. If catch block match, that will execute the rest of the application and executed and program is terminated normally. If corresponding catch block is not matched, then program is terminated abnormally. So you can see in exception handling, independent try or only try you cannot use it. You have to declare, either you can declare try catch, try finally and try catch finally. These are the mandatory combination. We having the many combination. I will share some notes from there. You can, because in the interview they will give you the some multiple scenarios for try catch finally. Okay, if exception raised in try block, then remaining code of try block won't be executed. Okay, so let me guys, theory we have seen. Now I'll show you some examples. So whatever the theory I have discussed, so it will be a more you will get more clarity. Okay, so let me uh, say here exception will raise here, right? I'm just commenting this code. Okay, I have commented. So what happened? There is no exception. It won't be raised any exception. Then catch block won't be execute. Here this block will execute. This is the outside of try and catch. Okay, so here you can see what the output will come. MK 10 and rest of the app, right? But in this line number 6, this exception will raise, because if you will divide by 10 by 0, then what will happen? Here your code will terminate, and after that control will come your catch block. So whatever the logics you want to write in your catch block, or whatever you are providing the alternate solution, right? It will execute, and this will execute. This is the outside of the try catch, right? So if I will compile this code, able to compile, you can see. Understood, right? Here, anyone having any doubt how this code is working?
No doubts.
Okay, so this is the simple things, right? And let me give you the another example and observe it here what I have used. Okay, so here same example I have given to you, but in the catch block you can observe I have used here a generic exception. Any exception we are able to handle it, but here I am handling arithmetic type exception. Okay, actually this is the best way to handle this. You can add here multiple catch as per your expected exception, whatever the exceptions are coming. If you don't know what you have to, what exception will come, you can use this exception. Okay, so that's all. So we are not doing anything extra here, just we are doing the same thing. Exception will raise here in this line, right? It won't be execute, and this I have, you can see I have given, if the users are doing the mistakes, user are going to enter invalid name or invalid username. So I have to provide the some message to the users, hey, you are giving the wrong username and password. So same thing I am doing here. Users are going to divide 30 by 0, then what will happen? It will go for the catch block and it will give to the message to the users, you should not divide by number by 0. Okay, so this is how we are providing user mistakes. Okay, so this message will display, if you guys are using any application and by mistake you are giving your wrong number, username and password, so the developers are giving something like, hey, this is your wrong users. Okay, so guys, this one I have already shown you this exception. You can say this is your try, and here we have a size string. Execute all the code. Okay, the process are same. I don't want to spend the time here. The same code and all. Okay, something we have to learn new, right? So here I'm adding one more element, and here I'm adding, I'm handling this exception. Here you will get array out of bound exception. So same example here. This is the multiple catch we are using here. Okay, so let me execute this code. You can see here, just observe it. Here the line number 6, it will raise the exception. Then which catch block will execute? Arithmetic exception will execute, or null pointer exception, or catch 1 will execute and catch 2 will execute.
Catch one.
Catch 1 will execute because the code is terminated here, right? When the code is terminated and this is matching, right? So that's why here we can use multiple exception, right? So if I will compile this code, you can see catch 1. So just I have given some scenario. Okay, when you will join any company and you are going to work on your automation project, so almost, I told you, right, you will get very rare chance. We have a separate team for the framework development. I'm going to tell you the top level of the client, right? But yeah, we have a very good understanding of your basics coding, right? So basics, if you're strong in the basics, you can debug the code, you can understand the flow. Even you having the 50 classes or we having the 100 methods, multiple flows are there in your project, right? But we are able to debug the code, and we can understand the things, and we can handle any project easily. So this is our perspective, right? So I'm just adding the things where it will be a helpful for you guys. Okay, I think not sure. Okay, already we have. Okay, so we can continue this. So finally block. Okay, I'm not sure tomorrow I'm able to take the classes or not. I will update on your WhatsApp. Okay, join the Selenium, because Java we have almost covered all the things. Exception handling is also completed. So we having the few more basics thing like constructor, super, and this keyword, and few more topics are pending. It will take 1 day or 2 days or 3 days to complete. Means next week your Java will be complete. Okay. Okay, join 8:30 batch. Sorry, 8:30 link. Okay.